Hello everyone and welcome to the FRS GT Series. I'm your host Roy Waller, and tonight we have got our grand finale here at Misano, a championship decider. We've run you down the grid order. We've had Helgut, Gonsalves, Pentilla, Lightbody and Spike, Nordemir, McDermott, Garley, Spit, Van Winsum, Williams, Monteginio, Hicks, Morgan Shaw, Cine, Mullard, and then we have Al-Khatib, Natrak and Wanda at the back of our field. And while we watch our drivers take us around the formation lap here, it's worth having a look at our drivers' standings. Having a brief overview of our drivers' standings, as we do have a battle for the championship in all three of our splits tonight. In the pro split, it is between Marvin Helgut and Matthias Pentilla, with Helgut just taking the advantage into the final race. These two drivers currently just separated by 12 points. And so with as long as Helgut doesn't drop more than a position behind Pentilla, would be able to take away the lead of this championship. The same goes in the battle between Alex Ames and Conor McDermott. Ames being the driver who came up from the bronze split, remember, at the beginning of this season. If McDermott finishes no more than one place behind Ames, will take the championship. And it's a bit closer at the top of our bronze split, as both Spit and Garley, if either of these are to win in their split, they can take the championship here. So the bronze split really want to watch out for, and that will be hotly contested. Whereas in the pro and the silver splits, the lead for the championship does somewhat require mishaps for other drivers, and the won't just be in the hand of the second place driver. So as Helgut brings us around the final corner of this Misano circuit, we are ready to get underway for this 45-minute night race here at Misano, as we come down to the start-finish line. Gonsalves getting himself quite far alongside Helgut as green light, and we are away, and it's a decent start from Gabriel, but Helgut has the inside line, and they come through as they were. So we've got some yellow flags in the background. Looks like there's been a multi-car incident, as we see a number of cars tumbling down the order. Does not appear like any of our championship contenders are included in that scrap, so we'll be thankful for that. As Marvin Helgut leads the way, and Matthias Pentilla needs to find a way through here if he's got any chance of taking this championship. There's currently a car separating him and his championship rival. He needs it to be the other way around if he's going to have any hope of winning this FRS GT Series Season 2. As we've got Tom Lightbody leading the way for our silver split. Tom Lightbody not in the battle for the championship here tonight. So this one's just for the honours of winning the race. The drivers we need to keep an eye on are Conor McDermott and Alex Ames, but it doesn't look like Ames is here for tonight's race. So McDermott somewhat winning this one by default, it seems. As we come on to the second lap of this race, still Helgut leading the way. He's got a comfortable lead over his championship contender and a nice buffer with Gabriel just keeping him behind him. As in the bronze split, it's currently Gali who holds the advantage with quite a buffer back to his championship contender of Spit. So Spit's got some work to do if he wants to make his way up. Currently sitting down in P13, though we have seen Spit sometimes does qualify a little further behind the rest of the field, but has been known to make up those positions in the race. So still every opportunity here for Brad Spit to move forward, as we have got a reserve driver in the bronze split just shaking things up a bit, and that is the car number 6, that of Kevin Nordemir, who is outperforming his split here, and might just be a little bit of a spanner in the works for this race, and could have a big impact on the championship tonight. As it appears, Tom Lightbody just dropping a bit back from that lead pack, with Helgut, Gonçalves and Pentilla driving away, as the split of one, naming Hakema just behind Lightbody, who's often been just off the pace of the fastest pros, but not fallen quite back into the silver split, is just harrying Lightbody. Expect that driver to perhaps have the pace on our silver split drivers, and just needs to find his opportunity to get his way by. There's another driver who's qualified perhaps lower than we would otherwise expect, is Ben Mullard. Ben Mullard, who numerous times during the season has been fighting for the lead and has won a couple of the races this season. Currently battling down in P9, has actually just made his way past the McLaren of Gali and has got Spike just 2.5 seconds up the road. And so we've got quite a number of our Pro Split drivers out of position for tonight's race. Wondering if perhaps some drivers just not putting in the effort they otherwise would into qualifying. Just to remind those who are new to the FRS GT Series that we do have pre-qualifying for all of these races. So that is up to the drivers to set their times during the week. We've got a number of our slower split drivers got themselves considerably up the water for tonight's race. As Hakema continues to harry Lightbody through the second sector. As Hart goes just a little bit wide of the apex there, gives a little bit of breathing space to Lightbody. Sweet. We could just check in with where we are from a championship perspective. As things stand, Marvin Helgut would take the lead of the, also would take the victory in the Pro Split. Silver Split, unfortunately, has become somewhat redundant, what with Alex Amez not being able to attend tonight's race. And with the things as they stand in our bronze split at the moment, Spit has managed to make his way up just now 2 places behind Gali. And with Gali currently running second in the split with the reserve driver of Nordemir leading the way in the bronze split. This is still advantage to Gali for the time being. And Gali needs to play this race smart, as we can see he is beginning to get pressure from Lewis Williams. Williams, who we have seen be quite fast in some of the previous races, has been challenging right up at the front of the bronze split, and just some poor luck in some races has meant that he's not in championship contention. It is getting exceptionally close to the back of Gali, and Gali needs to be thinking, does he want to get involved in a fight with Williams? This one not being a battle for the championship, doesn't want to necessarily get caught up in an incident that could impact his main race, which is with the car just 2 behind him. That is Brad Spit. As we see a 10-second penalty coming out for car number 56. That is Montegiano. And I suspect that is for our lap 1 incident. We also see penalties coming out for car number 94. That is Elliot Hicks. Neither of these drivers in championship contention, so these penalties should not have an impact on the championship standings. As up at the front, it seems that Helge and Gonçalves have dropped Pentilla just a bit. This 3-way fight between the Hondas at the front of this field does seem to be the choice car for this season here in the FRS GT Series. And with Helge and Gonçalves just dropping Pentilla just a little bit here. Pentilla just 1.1 seconds behind. It's all looking very good for the championship of Helgets. Ben Mallard in the Alpha Simsport Audi has been making his way steadily through the field now. Started this race down in P17. Moved himself up 10 positions throughout this race. And is now challenging the back of Harkar Kemmer, who's been bottled up behind Lightbody, well, really since the very start of this race. And is it going to be Mallard who is going to take the opportunity to get by? As Nordemir has also been making his way through the field and is up into P4, making it a big old Honda group up at the front of this race. And yeah, it does seem like the Honda is the car to be in here at Misano, as all the top 4 cars are Hondas and all the Hondas on the track are in the top 4. It is Mullard who we will keep an eye on for the time being, as he's been harrying the back of the Audi of Harkema. Harkema, with just a little mistake there, runs a little bit wide, has given the opportunity to Mullard. And there's Mullard up the inside into the fast right-hander, should get the advantage here into the braking. His fast and flowing third sector here, taking the shortest lines, often the most advantageous around here. You don't scrub off too much speed. And that is Mullard up into P6. The next battle we really need to keep an eye on is this continuing scrap between Ghali and Williams. Williams seemingly with the pace at the moment, and Ghali really doesn't want to be slowed down too much. We spit just under 4 seconds behind, as Williams using all of the track available. I believe that curbing out there is considered part of the racing surface, so I don't think there'll be a track limits violation for Williams as he pushes on. But all the while these two are fighting, that gap back to Brad Spitt slowly coming down. Last lap for Ghali, a 1:36.0, whereas for Spitt, a 1:35.7. So if he continues at this pace, we could be seeing a battle between our championship contenders in the bronze split before this race is over. So we check in up nearer the front of the field, where Ben Mullard is continuing to make his advance, having just got past Harkema around this section of the track just last time around. Is now taking the place of the aggressor on Tom Lightbody, who's must be at this point used to having an Audi filling his mirrors. This time it is the Audi of Ben Mullard, who we have often seen fighting at the front end of the field here in the FRS GT Series. And Ben Mullard using all of the track and then some. Needs to be careful, doesn't pick up any track limit violations for running too wide out there. Very easy to do, as there's contact between Mullard and Harkema. Well, Harkema does give him a second tap to put him back the right way, but I don't think that's going to put the stewards off of giving him a penalty for that contact. That was a very bold move up the inside for Harkema. As we take another look at that. Oh, and he just taps the inside rear. And you can't be doing that. Ben Mullard has lost a number of places because of that contact. He's now running down in P9 and needs to work his way back through all over again. There's Lewis Williams, still right on the back of Ghali, as of yet unable to find a way through. And for Ghali, this is all working quite well, as we see a drive-through penalty for Harkema. A harsh penalty from the stewards, but for that incident, I guess you can't complain too much. Although, actually, I suspect that could actually be a drive-through for track limit violations for Harkema, as we didn't see anything coming up saying that that had been awarded by the stewards. So suspect there might be more to come on top of that drive-through penalty for Harkema once the stewards have a chance to take a look. As our silver split leader, Conor McDermott, is in a pro driver sandwich at the moment with Spike just ahead and Mullard behind. For McDermott tonight, he knows he's going to be walking away with the championship win regardless of where he finishes, but this one all about the pride and the as racing drivers will often say, they're just taking it race by race, and it exactly seems to be what Conor McDermott is doing here tonight. As Harkema into the pits to serve his drive-through penalty. You check back in with Lewis Williams, who continues to chase down Garley. It's Garley. Was that a mistake there, or was that Garley allowing the BMW through? It looked like it was a mistake. So we go to the helicam. Yep, just a bit too much curb. And the McLaren that snaps from under him, does well to collect it. Continues on, loses the place, but keeps the car in decent condition. And can carry on now with slightly less pressure on his shoulders. But he will be noticing that that next car behind him is that of his championship rival, Brad Spitt. So we see, yep, now the 5-second penalty awarded to Harkema for that earlier incident. Now the last thing that Garley needs is for Williams to slow down at all now that he's not chasing another car. Because Brad Spitt now just 2.6 seconds behind the McLaren of Garley. This championship far from over for these two. Actually, sorry, with the way things stand at the moment, with Garley third in the championship, so third in the race, and Brad Spitt fourth, this would still lead with the points as they get worked out, with Brad Spitt taking the championship. So Garley does need to get past Williams. Apologies, I got slightly confused by this standings in this race, as I forgot Nordemir is a bronze split driver here and does get taken into account for the standings. So Garley really does need to get past Lewis Williams, so this is an important battle that we're seeing ahead of us on track, as Nordemir has tumbled down the order. So I'm not sure what has happened here to the Honda driver. Oh, but we just caught the tail end of it as he's playing in the sandpit. So gets back out on track. And Nordemir now running just ahead of Lewis Williams at the head of the bronze battle. This could make things interesting. As I remind anyone who might be new to the FRS GT Series, this is a 45-minute sprint race, so there is no pit stops required for these drivers. It is just a lights to flag sprint race. Apologies, we do not have the timings on the screen at the moment, but I can let you know we have got 22 minutes and 30 seconds remaining of this race. As at the front of our field, Gabriel Gonzalez is slowly clawing Pentilla back in as the gap at the front has swung back. As I see, I believe that must be the Audi of Dehaan as the leaders go through. Marvin Helge currently 3.2 seconds up the road from this pair. This battling is allowing him to just stretch his legs, as Gonzalez definitely needs to get himself by Pentilla, as that championship win is slowly driving off into the distance at the hands of Marvin Helge. With just over half of this race gone now. Gabriel desperately needs to do something, otherwise we'll be conceding this championship to his rival Marvin Helge. And it's now every chance that lap traffic could play a part in this battle. As we're seeing both Pentilla and Gonzalez catching up to a number of back markers. And we're also seeing a number of drive-through penalties coming out. With drivers must be abusing the track limits here at this Misano circuit. Very easy to do with such a flat circuit, very easy just to run off the curbs. Especially with these tightening radius corners, it can be it can catch you a bit off guard. We head into the final sector. These two have been pushing hard all race, and Pentilla was doing well to keep up with Marvin Helge during the first half of this stint, but does seem to be just slipping back now. It's possible that Pentilla just set his car up for the high fuel load, and now the fuel is coming off, the weight coming off the suspension, that the setup of the Honda under Pentilla is not as optimally set up for low fuel as that of Marvin Helge and Gabriel. Remains to be seen. Obviously, as this race goes on, more and more of that fuel will burn off. These cars will get lighter and lighter. We'll have to see if that causes the performance to go away from Matthias Pentilla as the race goes on. As we also have our lead for the bronze split, the AM split, separated by not much on the track, with Nordemir just stretching his legs a little bit and creating a gap, creating a bit of field spread amongst these AM split drivers. Does seem to have the pace in his Honda tonight. But it is this battle between Williams and Gali we really need to be keeping an eye on, as this is going to be so important for the championship. As Gali desperately needs to get by Williams if he wants any chance of holding on to his championship hopes. And with just 18 minutes remaining of this race, time running out for Gali. as we're beginning to see the track or the grid spreading out just a little bit. These battles diffusing as we head into towards the final 15 minutes of this race. It's now Kevin Nordemir, who's now fighting his way back through the field after that earlier trip through the gravel, and is now slowly catching the back of Conor McDermott. As we see two more drivers with drive-through penalties. We'll have to just hope that our championship contenders do not get caught up in these drive-through penalties, as that could very much change the complexion of this race and the championship if any of these championship fighting drivers were to overstep the track limits just one too many times. Up at the front, Gabriel has closed the gap again to Pentilla. A gap that had increased to over a second just a few laps ago, now sitting at just over half a second. And with just this fighting, holding up this pair of drivers, has allowed Helgut to extend that lead at the front of this field, and barring any uncharacteristic mistake from Helgut, I have to say at the moment he's got his one hand on this championship trophy with just 15 minutes remaining of this race. Gabriel's, we've seen lap after lap able to get close to the back of Pentilla, but as soon as that comes to about half a second, so difficult to actually try and get alongside a car here at the Misano circuit. So they come around to start their 21st lap of this race. So just over 13 minutes remaining, and it does seem that Gabriel, although can just keep with the back of Matthias Pentilla, does not have the pace to get by, and if he doesn't make a move soon, it does appear Marvin Helgut. And a small mistake there from Constanza. He goes wide over the sausage curbs, and that has dropped him back again from Matthias Pentilla. Down at the start of, or the front of the bronze split pack, we've got Kevin Nordemir catching Conor McDermott. Kevin Nordemir, driver who just joined the FRS GT Series for our last race at Mount Panorama, showing himself to be a quick driver, especially around this Misano circuit, as Conor McDermott makes a mistake, and that is the Honda of Kevin Nordemir through up into P6. And puts a little bit of a buffer between himself and the rest of the AM split here. There's Gali staying glued to the back of the BMW of Williams. We'll just be hoping for a small mistake to allow him through as well. There is a small mistake from Williams, but I don't think that is going to be quite enough for Gali to get through, as the BMW clatters its way over the sausage curbs. But that BMW doesn't seem to mind the curbs all too much. This gap hovering still just below a second between Gali and Williams. Still seeming very evenly matched on pace. As I said, Gali just needs to be patient and wait for an opportunity. Still got just over 10 minutes remaining of this race. And, well, for Gali, the only real opportunity here is to make up one more position, because Brad Spitt has got a considerable gap back to the next AM split driver. Over 40 seconds separates Spitt and Morgan Shaw. So for Gali to be able to take the win of the championship in the AM split, does need to find his way past Lewis Williams. So far has done well to just keep Spitt at a distance. But that earlier mistake we saw coming out of that very corner is what cost Gali second place in the AM split, and that is what he would require to take home the AM split trophy tonight. As we have a similar story up at the front of our standings, as Gonzalez still keeping less than a second gap to Pentilla, but all the while Marvin Helgert is just extending that gap up at the front, now sitting at around 8 seconds, and with just over 8 minutes remaining of this race, seems almost insurmountable here for Gabriel. As Pentilla moving offline. Doesn't yet have to go defensive. As it does seem that Pentilla just missing the apex there. This has allowed Gabriel to close up ever so slightly around this final sector. Bit too far back for Gabriel to capitalise on it, as he goes deep on the corner and misses the apex. As we're approaching the end of the race, the tyres on these cars will be getting worn down. The grip levels will be starting to just drop off. Over the course of this race, the fuel burns off and the tyres get worn down. The pace of these cars and the lap times should be improving as this race goes on, but the drivability of the cars does just slightly drop off with the worn tyres, and you can see that the rear of the Honda under Gabriel just squirming around a little bit under traction. The Honda does seem particularly prone to, as the not sure how long I missed that for, but that is a drive-through penalty for Gabriel, and that is, well, we have to say at this point, championship over for Gabriel, as that's going to cost him at least 30 seconds. What with this long pit lane here at the Misano circuit. We also have a drive-through penalty for Spike. But we won't congratulate Marvin Helgert just yet, as with just over 5 minutes remaining of this race, still anything could happen, but this has made Gabriel's life infinitely more difficult. As our battle in the AM split seems to have completely dropped away. Lewis Williams either finding a turn of pace or Garley just dropping away. But Williams now with a 3.5 second gap over Garley. And this is not going to be going the way for Garley for this championship. Is currently leading over Brad Spitt, but not by enough. Will not have a big enough points delta come the end of this race to clinch the championship. So we have yellow flags out for Spike. Nope, that is just erroneous yellow flags for the Aston Martin driver serving his drive-through penalty for track limit violations. As I expect we will be seeing Gabriel doing the same soon. So if we take a look at the time in pits for Spike, it does look like that is a or it's around almost a minute in the pit lane to serve a drive-through penalty. Well, actually, it looks like perhaps Spike has just parked it up. Yeah, Spike has just parked it up, so I think that is Spike either taking a pit stop or just opting to park up for this race. That's such a painful drive-through penalty there for Gabriel. Still holding on to P3 at the moment, but this pit exit is so long. As Tom Lightbody manages to make his way through, and this is going to put Gabriel well out of contention, as Lewis Williams at this late stage in the race has found a real bucket full of pace and is now on the back of Conor McDermott. We did see a small mistake from McDermott earlier, but that gap was substantially larger just a matter of laps ago. And now Lewis Williams is challenging the silver split driver of McDermott and has got a 5 second gap over Garley. which would be horrible to see for Gali. As we just passed the 2 minutes remaining point in this race, we will have likely just one more lap after this one. As Lewis Williams, really strong pace at this point in the race. It's all over the back of Conor McDermott. And McDermott just going deep into the corner, and the pace of that BMW is astonishing. As our race leader comes around the final sector to start the final lap of this race, as Lewis Williams up the inside of Conor McDermott, they're door to door through the corner, and they're going to be side by side coming into the series of right-handers. Can Lewis Williams get the traction out of the corner? It looks like he's got it. Right in the slipstream of the Audi. Ooh, as Lewis Williams has to go deep on the brakes to get out of the way, and this could be a chance for Gali. So he comes around. We'll keep an eye on Gali for now. Gali now just 2 seconds back from Williams. I'm not sure if Williams is locked up on those tyres and got a flat spot, but still, with a 1.8 second gap, still a lot of work for Gali to do, but it's been made considerably easier. But we will check in with our race leader, Marvin Helget. So he comes around the final few corners of this Misano circuit. Comes to take the checkered flag. And this, after a dominant race hit, was under pressure from Pentilla for the first 10 laps, but now with a 10-second gap back to his nearest rival, and that is race win and the championship for Marvin Helget. Congratulations to Helget. It was a well-fought race and a much-deserved victory, as Matthias Pentilla takes second. It will be second in the championship also for Pentilla, as Tom Lightbody rounds the final corner and will take the checkered flag for first place in the silver split. Fortunately, not close enough in contention for the championship, as Gabriel crosses the line P4, P3 in the pro split, and we'll be thinking what could have been in that race. Nordemir takes the win for the AM split, followed closely behind by McDermott, second place in the silver, and in the end Williams manages to hold on to P2 in the bronze split, which means Gali, who has come home P3 in the AM split, will not be taking the championship here. That honour goes to Brad Spitt in the Brad Spitt Audi. Congratulations for your championship win there, Mr. Spitt. And again, I should say congratulations to Conor McDermott, who is currently doing donuts in the runoff for his championship win. So to remind you again, of our Finishing order, it was Helgut, followed by Pentilla, Lightbody, Gonçalves, Nordemir, McDermott, Williams, Garley, Spit and Harkema rounding out the top 10. And we just must finish off by saying congratulations to our 3 championship winners. That is Marvin Helgut, Conor McDermott and Brad Spitz. And thank you for tuning in again to the FRS GT Series. And we will be back sometime in the future for Season 3 and any other special events that the FRS GT Series or the FRS GT Sim Racing Discord may be holding. Links for the FRS GT Series can be found in the description below, so if you're interested in joining their sim racing exploits, please do jump on there. And as always, I have been your host, Roy Waller. Have a very lovely evening.